Hello everybody, it's your boy Hawka, the Counter-Strike Scholar, back with another video, this time taking a look at what we've learned on Ancient since the Major. I'm sorry for being gone a while, I wanted to enjoy the Major all by myself, but let's get back into the content, firstly by focusing on Ancient. Arguably the most important part of Ancient right now is getting the mid control, which opens up a lot of options for you. And I'd say this is the most standard way Ts are taking mid nowadays, with these top mid smokes and this molly in towards Donut. You're going to see the lineups here as Rez is the man to throw the top mid smoke off the spawn on this occasion. And then Linus has the spawn to throw both the molly for Donut and the smoke which lands behind it. And the reason you throw this molly in front of Donut is so that the Ts can challenge mid really early, and the CTs can't play ahead of these smokes in any spots where they have cover. They either just have to sit entirely out in the open, which is obviously not ideal, or maybe they can try and get to that cubby on the right side as the Ts enter mid, but that is pretty hard to do, and there are obviously no good fallback spots there. And you're going to see from Hamps' POV, he can just smoke these mollies that the CTs throw, get that early mid control, and then from here, if you can get control towards Red Room or a kill all the way into top mid, it makes it so hard for the CTs to rotate between those sites, as you can cut off a huge portion of the map. Something I really liked from Ents on their CT side was this early smoke thrown over towards A main. Spinks lines this one up and then joins his 4 riflers to 4-man stack the B site, while they leave Hades with the AWP alone holding A. This allows those riflers to get aggressive on B, to start to gain info, and to start to take some good fights that they can set up with their utility, and this works out for them as they get a kill on the lurking NIP player. And then Hades over on A can absolutely do a fine job holding this site alone with the AWP. There are so many long-range angles and so many good positions to be AWPing from, and he picks Donut this time, which works out wonderfully as he lines up these first 2 players. And I really like the options you have as a CT on Ancient right now. There's a lot of cool stuff like this you can do. Something else you have to watch for on that CT side is all those wall bangs that are now possible, especially in the B side of the map. For example, in this round, Snappy goes on a fact-finding mission, pushing all the way through Cave and Jaguar before getting spotted by some of these players holding B. But that allows Dotto to line up this wallbang and do good damage onto Plopsky in return. I think the king of these CT wallbangs right now has to be Rain, though. He had this one lined up in from Jaguar towards the B lane position. He had this one lined up towards the entrance of Cave, which doesn't do damage here, but is a really nice idea. And then finally, he had this nade and wallbang combo from Jaguar in towards mid, which is just beautiful to watch.
I've experimented with a bit myself, and you can do so much damage.
Look, it's such a geek, and that's the bang.
And that's before you even take into account the fact that you can go ahead and sit in towards Cave on CT side and just spam towards the bomb. Or once the bomb gets planted, it can go the other way and the Ts can spam towards the bomb in a post-plant scenario. I also think we're starting to see teams adapt to how strong that Cave position can be. For example, Gamer Legion here decide on their fast B play they don't really want to contest with those wallbangs in towards Cave, and they decide that a fast-paced B play is better off smoking off this left side and actually having players push into the right side of this square position to get towards CT spawn. You're going to get to see all the nades lined up shortly, and even though there aren't any CTs holding in this specific round, I think this counters a couple of problems that the Ts can face on that B site. Firstly, it can be difficult to get that bomb down when people are spamming those smokes on the other side. In fact, I've even seen CTs purposely drop a smoke themselves at their feet so that they can spam through it because they're so good at lining up those spams to the site where there is no cover to get that bomb planted. And then secondly, as we saw earlier, challenging around Jaguar and Cave can be very dangerous nowadays with all those wall bangs. So by avoiding that completely, you can maybe just rush that bomb plant quickly by avoiding that position entirely, using the pillar as cover from the cave side, and hopefully getting a quick bomb plant and good post-plant positions pushed in towards CT. Gamer Legion also showed some options for CT aggression on the B side of the map, where Rusty lines up this smoke all the way from spawn to land in towards the door that the T's have to cross through to get towards B. Some of his teammates chuck in some mollies for good measure to make it really difficult for the T's to get out through this choke point and get out in towards the B side of the map. And then finally they have some flashes set up so that Zero can have some really effective fights on this B side of things. Again, going to show that there are options early in the round that CTs can call out of spawn, almost like a T team would call for and execute like this, which I think is quite cool to watch right now. And then the final thing, which is always worth pointing out, is the flanks through mid, if timed well, can be so powerful on this map. And I think it's fair to say that Karrigan is one of the best out there right now at out-positioning his opponents in this way. He just seems to have a really good feel for when he can flank through mid to catch his opponents off guard, especially in the slower-paced rounds. And there were even plenty of rounds at the Major on T side where he would get fully in behind his opponents, like in this round where he gets the early kill on mid, moves into top mid and realizes that red room is open, but as soon as he sees the CT rotates, he drops back and just gets this unbelievable timing to sneak past Kicker, who was jiggle peeking this angle and didn't realize that Karrigan could be here so quickly. And then he's so composed in these scenarios. He hears this AWP scoping in CT, and so instead of just swinging him straight away, he waits for this smoke from his team to come up into position because he knows that will make Jame not scope in on this angle anymore, and he times it just right to get this kill, turns back and eventually realizes the player he bypassed in Donut is there, and these two kills win the round. Or there's this round, which is masterfully played. FaZe contest for this early Jaguar control, and even though Karrigan unfortunately can't get this kill because he's got a molly out, he hears both of these mollies being extinguished by smokes. So FaZe know this is a double cave setup from VP, and Karrigan realizes that means there's likely only one player back on the site itself. This then allows Karrigan to put a smoke to the right side of the site and pop a flash over the top, which blinds Jame long enough for Karrigan to sneak all the way into the site. He's looking at cave the entire time, but he realizes once he hears the AWP shot, there is not likely to be anyone else on this B site. So he can walk through his own smoke because the chance of there being a CT here is incredibly low. And from here, Karrigan is in a position where the CTs just have no clue where he's coming from. He can slowly but surely set up this flank, and even though he actually only gets one kill from this scenario, it's just a position where he's caused so much chaos that he can set up his teammates, and it also helps when Twists is playing this bloody well. That guy is such a stud with the AK. Seriously, just look at the end here. 6 bullets on these 2 kills. Oh man, I love when Twist is playing well. His aim is up there with the best of them. And to round out the video, I'm going to give you guys a nice bonus round, including a lot of stuff. Firstly, I love how we're already seeing counterplay to this wallbang Rain was throwing in. Yakindar tries to sneak through the smoke while he's spamming to get this kill, but Rain is also already wise to the potential counterplay and stops spamming soon enough so that he can watch the smoke. Even though he's only got a few bullets left, this is still a fight he's going to win the majority of the time. Although it would have been interesting if there were a couple of players sneaking through this smoke, then Rain could have been in trouble. But we also have some cool mid play here from FaZe. Karrigan doesn't want to give away the mid control entirely, so once he realizes VP are starting to put some pressure towards mid, he calls for his teammate Twist to actually throw this CT smoke towards top mid so that Karrigan can play behind it and get an off angle towards mid to look for info. And once it starts going quiet on this mid position, Karrigan realizes that this was just some fake map control from VP. They haven't left anyone here, and so he calls for Twist to play proactively alongside him, just to watch towards the ledge while he clears out mid completely. And that means with such little time left on the clock, he can set up this flank play, pushing through with Rain, and it ends up being an easy lockout because there is just so much info for FaZe this late in the round. They know exactly what's coming, and they have every player in the right position to lock this down. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video talking about the things I'm liking on Ancient so far, and maybe you can watch out for some of these if you see any Ancient games at the upcoming tournaments. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching. I've been Hawka, the Counter-Strike Scholar, and I'll catch you next time. Hopefully not a 2-month break between videos this time too. See ya!